Good afternoon. Injury-wise, Dwayne, Mackay, and Brees will be limited. No different than a week ago. Otherwise, we get Eccles back this week, and that's it.
With all the madness on Monday, we didn't ask about Carl. Just what went into that decision to keep him out, and is he going to play on Sunday?
For sure. Anticipating him being up this week. With it being a short week, the time he had off with regard to dealing with the back injury, I felt like our Friday practice was a little on the high side with the physicality and all that stuff, and I just didn't think it'd be a good idea to practice him, play a game, short week, play another game with the amount of time he had off. So this would be week one for him.
Robert, what did you gauge from your players' frame of mind this morning?
Everyone's in really great spirits. I'll speak for the locker room. Everyone believes in themselves, and we believe we have a really good football team. Like I've said before, we've got a championship defense. We've got great skill guys on offense. We've got an O-line that's continuing to gel, and we've got a lot of faith in Zach. I think people forget that he was 5-1 before the bye week, and before our offense, half the offense was decimated with injuries from a year ago. So, got a lot of faith in the group that we got.
Based on week one, it looks like the Dallas defense would be tough for even the most seasoned quarterbacks. So, what are the challenges that Zach is going to face going in there?
Yeah, in all three phases, Dallas is loaded. They've got on defense, their D-line is as good as anybody. Their back end's fast. They're very sound. Dan Quinn does as good a job as anyone in football. Offensively, their offensive line, skill guys, quarterback, obviously, they're incredibly talented. And so it's going to be a challenge. It's not just for the offense, but for everybody.
Robert, what was your message to the team in terms of moving on, with Aaron being where it is? What did you tell him?
I don't know if there's anything to say. It's it sounds cliche, but it's next man up. Nobody cares. Nobody cares that you've lost a player. At the end of the day, Sunday's coming, and we've got to put our best foot forward and do everything we can to put ourselves in position to be successful. And that's the harsh part of the business. But and I think guys understand that.
Robert, do you have any update on when Aaron will have the surgery?
I don't. I know he's going through that process.
Is he still here?
I think he's getting some, not to speak for him, but some consultations trying to figure out what the next best move is.
What's the next best move? Like as in,
for his surgery.
Okay.
Yeah.
You said you want him to stay connected to the team throughout the season or after the surgery. Why do you think that's important?
I think it's very important. It's important for him. I think it's the mental health and healing. I think that's very important. But his presence, his words, his verbiage, like I've said, he's as much a football coach as he is a player, and just having his presence, his thoughts, his words, and his leadership is. I think anybody would want that.
I know there's a couple of steps that have to take place before that, but you envision him like on the headset, like he was in the preseason, kind of a role.
I don't know about that one. We're limited on headsets, but shoot, if he wants a headset, he can have one.
I know this is still down the road foreshadowing, but when you've talked to Aaron and when you've had conversations with him, has there been discussions about the future at all?
I haven't gone down that road with him. I'd be shocked if this is the way he's going to go out. But at the same time, for him, he's working through a whole lot of headspace things that he needs to deal with, and that will be the last thing I talk to him about.
Has he spoken to the team since Monday night?
I know he was here. I'm not sure how many guys he got a chance to go speak to, but we jumped right into Dallas, so not a lot of sleep for us. I have no idea what's been going on around the building other than trying to prepare for Dallas and then what's been happening this morning. So,
Robert, McCole, no offensive snaps on Monday. What led to that?
Yeah, well, the plan, and give credit to the offensive staff. Obviously, with Aaron, there was a certain plan that was in place, and so when Aaron went down, it shifted. We shifted gears to a different style of football, and a lot of the things that Aaron was wanting to do was 3 receiver sets, and once he was out of the game, we went to a different type of an offense. I think we pivoted, especially at halftime. credit to the offensive staff making the adjustments we needed to make to be able to start moving the ball and get points on the board. And so that wasn't the plan. The plan was to get him some play time. So hopefully this week we can get him out there.
Where did things stand now in terms of bringing in another quarterback?
Yeah, no, still working through it all. Like I said, we're not pressed right now because our two guys right now are on our roster for game day, and so just trying to figure out what's best, not only from a skill standpoint, but from a locker room standpoint. So there's a lot of discussions going on with that in that regard.
So on a short week, the adding of a quarterback would probably be a next week thing, not necessarily a this week thing.
It doesn't have to be this week. And like I said, with Zach and Tim, those are our guys. They've been here from OTAs, all the nuance. Sometimes I look at it like it's not Madden in the sense that we can just plug and play anybody. There's a lot of meetings, a lot of practices, a lot of nuance, a lot of understanding of why things are the way they are. That go into it. So just plugging and playing a quarterback, it's going to take time. Whoever comes in this building to figure out what we've done over the last 6-7 months and to create their identity within the system. So right now, all of our attention are on Zach and Tim to get them ready to play football.
Robert, I don't know if we asked about Tim once during training camp, but just kind of I think many of your fans don't know much about him. What kind of was the impression you got over the last 5 months from him?
I'm going to debate or argue that I don't know if we talked about very many people outside of the quarterback. And there's a lot of really good football players on this team, but that deserve to be spoken about. And Tim's one of them. I thought he did a great job over the course of the offseason getting better, especially during preseason games. I thought he showed very well in the preseason games. He's very familiar with the system, being with Green Bay and understanding the things that are asked. He had time with Aaron, obviously, and being in the same room. Very smart. He's got talent, and he's just somebody that we're excited to work with.
Robert, you mentioned the plan changed when Aaron went down on Monday night. How much does that carry over into this week, and how difficult is that on a short week with everybody having to change a little bit? So that was independent of itself. This is a whole new game plan, whole new system. With what DQ does defensively, it's completely different. So they're completely independent of each other.
Robert, is there an area where you've seen the most growth from Zach that you're like, okay, he is ready this time?
He's got a lot of self-confidence right now. The easy stuff doesn't look hard anymore. I mean, he gets back there and he does the fundamental things so well. His footwork is unbelievable. He had a couple of third down throws he had three really, really big time throws that from a timing, rhythm, footwork, eye placement that I thought was super impressive. And he had a cool scramble down inside the 5-yard line, creating off schedule. He created off schedule a little bit to Lazard on a big play. So he's done a lot of really good things, but for him, it's just making the easy, and it's something that he's done. Like, it's something small, but he threw that swing pass to Dalvin Cook in the second half. Well, we all know what those looked like a year ago, and it was just a simple flick of the wrist, and the ball got exactly downhill. Dalvin caught it in a way where he was going downhill with the ball, and so he's been fantastic in that regard, and he's only going to get better.
Is there anything tell him not to be, that he doesn't need to be Aaron Rodgers?
Nobody does. He just needs to be him. Nobody needs to think that they need to go all world now. You just need to be yourself. Just trust that yourself is good enough. Zach is talented. Every player on this football team is talented, and they just have to work within the framework of who they are, what they're being asked to do. The old cliche, do your job to the best of your ability, and just trust the results will show. So with Zach, he's got all the talent in the world, and he's just got to continue to find ways to get better.
Robert, with Zach, you didn't attack too much down the field. In fact, I don't think there was a pass thrown beyond 20 yards, and all but 5 were under 10 yards. Is that going to be a point of emphasis to open up the offense a little bit more and be more aggressive down the field?
It's going to be week to week. Buffalo, I'm not saying we're similar, but there's not a lot of opportunities to get the ball downfield. We just They force you to play the short game. They force you to keep it in front, and they force you to go the distance. And if you force the ball, you're going to end up you could put yourself in harm's way, which could be a detriment to the team. But there were a couple of shots that we did take down the field where Zach looked fantastic doing it. But I don't think the game called for it once he got in.
Is there something with Hackett's coaching style or his system or both that might be able to bring out something in Zach that is Zach friendly that could bring something out that we haven't seen?
Got to word this one right. I'm going to hold off on that one. I'll answer that one later.
You talked about Zach. You talked about that being different. Just his personality different from what he was last year. Just can you give an example off the field, just how much he's changed and grown?
Off the field, I don't know. I try not getting into their personal lives, and like I said, I try to.
Well, in the building.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like I try to stay away from. I have an idea of what's going on. I don't want to be a micromanager of the locker room. That's never been the intent. I think like I've said it before, the greatest teams, when in that locker room, they've got full control of it. By the time it gets to me, if it becomes a problem, then it gets to me, then we'll deal with it. But I go by what I see and the way he communicates with his teammates and the way he communicates with his coaching staff. He's very confident, and he's loving football again. He has a different aura about him that has been very good.
I'll try to get kind of what Rich said, but after that interception, we saw Hackett hands-on with him on the sideline and giving him some reinforcement. So first of all, how much better is that kind of dealing with those mistakes through camp and obviously the first game, and how much do you think Hackett has to do with that?
Yeah, so this is not a reflection of the old staff. I want to be very clear on that one with the coaches prior. But Hackett is like the eternal optimist. His way of coaching and his style of is reassuring. So that moment that you're talking about, that is a big moment. He was on the field, obviously, which is big, and to let Zach know, like, hey, you made a mistake. Who gives a shit? Excuse my language. Move on to the next play, and just to have that, like, it's going to be fine, to get him back on track and to help him maintain that level of confidence that, I've always argued that a coach's number one job, above scheme, above everything else, is to make their players feel like they can walk on water. That's our job. And I think he's one of those special coaches who has that ability.
Last one here from
if you think about it, the last thing, I mean, there's a big reason why Aaron wanted to be here is because of the coaching style of Nathaniel Hackett, and that's how special of a human he is.
Robert, I saw the O-line after the game. I'm curious now that you got to watch the film. How did you feel they did his pass protection and then the run game as well?
Yeah, I thought a run game, I think we turned out over 170, had a couple of explosives, but especially late in the fourth quarter, felt like we were getting a lot of really good movement. I felt like our protection got better as the game went on. It can always be better, but I thought it was from a drop back standpoint, you look at the third downs in the second half, Zach had some time to throw the football and deliver a couple of strikes. So yeah, I thought they improved. I thought they did a good job for the first time out, and fully expecting us to be a lot better next week.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, thanks, guys.